Hello everyone, my name's Graham Hughes and I'm going to be your tutor for this webinar today. I'm going to talk to you about importing video and audio and transcripts and transcribing inside Maxqda over the next 45 minutes. I'll then open up the chat facility so that you can ask questions, which I'll attempt to answer with the help of further demonstrations if need be. So click on the chat button up here to open up a chat function and ask a question. And please, when you do send a question to me, could you send it to everybody rather than just personally to me? That'll just help if somebody else is worrying about a similar topic. They'll see that there's a question already in and they won't have to be distracted trying to ask it themselves. So I'm going to be working today with the Windows version of Maxqda 2020. If you're a Mac user, please stay with us because it looks pretty much exactly the same on Macs as on Windows. And if you've got a slightly earlier version of Maxqda, such as Maxqda 18, don't worry. Most of the functions that I'm going to demonstrate were unchanged between the two versions. So let me move into Maxqda, where I've got a screen ready. And we've just got somebody just arriving, but that's okay. So, transcribing with Maxqda, but this is not just going to be a simple tutorial on transcribing. I want to cover quite a bit more with some remarks. So here's an outline of the webinar that I'm going to give you this afternoon. So I'm going to make some general points in the key points, and then I'll demonstrate importing audio and video files to Maxqda. Then I'll import an already transcribed audio file. I won't bother to do an already transcribed video file because that would be rather repetitious. We'll go through the transcription tools inside Maxqda so that you're familiar with the range of functions there. And then a key part of this will be thinking about using those manual tools to correct or edit an imported transcript, because I expect that many of you will be looking to have your transcripts done outside of Maxqda, possibly with automatic transcription software. And lastly, I will try, if I've got time, I will just show you how you can also do direct coding of video and audio materials without even bothering to transcribe. But that's getting a little bit ahead of ourselves. So that's the program. So let's just think generally about this task of transcription and so on, because it concerns me quite a bit that much of the methodology around transcribing, or particularly audio, is based on the time before digital audio, in particular, became widely available, and also before programs like Maxqda made it very easy to synchronize your transcript with your audio or your video, so that you can create data segments of transcript and view or listen to them in their original source material within your analysis steps. I'm concerned that too many people are looking to get a quick transcription done and then get to work on their transcript alone. It's my view that the full media, the original audio or your video, must be richer than a mere transcription of it. And so I want to urge you to find ways to use your rich source media data as well as your transcripts. So I want to explore alternatives to laborious manual transcription. There are a few that I've listed here. So, for example, for a long time, this has been the most common one, that people would subcontract the transcription job to specialist people who had equipment and programs and so on in the past. And this has been going on for a long time. This is what I would think of as an old methodology, which goes back to the days of analog working, when your recording was done on magnetic tape, which was difficult to move about in and so on. So it was an obvious thing to get somebody to play through it slowly, record it, turn it into a transcript, and you worked with a transcript alone. You can still do that and get a transcript with timestamps, which can be synchronized so you can have digital audio and your transcript. But more people are looking for a cheaper option, because that's quite expensive, paying somebody else to do it. And they're looking at external automatic transcription. And this is something that's changed a lot just in the last 2 or 3 years. I'm going to recommend a book at the end of this webinar, which is by Cookhartz and Rediker, Analyzing Qualitative Data with Maxqda. Don't worry, I'll give you the reference. Published in 2019, that grumbles that that automatic transcription is not yet widely available. Well, that's changed in the last 2 years, so we've got to consider that. But transcription is not the only way of working. You could use timestamp segmenting, just break your transcript up into different short segments and simply summarize those rather than attempting to fully transcribe all of them. And if you're working with video, you might consider using description rather than speech transcription, describing what is in the video in those segments in order to make quick access to the key parts of your videos readily available. And there's even one further option that Maxqda offers you, which is that you could consider simply directly coding your audio or video without transcribing at all and working entirely in your source media. That is perfectly possible, and maybe a shortcut for some people. But we need to consider some of the issues around that. But while we are thinking about transcription, I want to emphasize that transcription should capture more than just the words spoken. In their book, Cookhartz and Rediker, Analyzing Qualitative Data with Maxqda, they come up with 14 rules of transcription. And in a personal conversation with Stefan Rediker, he pointed out to me that just about only 1 or 2 of those 14 rules are actually complied with by automatic transcription programs. So an awful lot is being lost. So, and this is much of the methodology developed in the analog era. Let's move on. So just a few more, and then we'll get into the transcription. I want to emphasize, transcription is an act of data reduction. You'll be losing material when you transcribe. So you should consider, in the context of your own research questions and your own data collection and so on, what you'll be losing by relying on a transcript, if that's what you're thinking of doing. How much will you be losing, and does it matter? In some situations, it may not matter at all. But in much qualitative research, things like the tone of voice, the amount of hesitation that a speaker uses when you're asking them personal questions and so on, could be quite significant in your interpretation and understanding of what they said. A lot of that is lost and will certainly be lost by automatic transcription programs. I'd also just like to make a personal point here. If you're a PhD student and you're going to conduct your own interviews, it's a good idea to do some of your own transcription work at least, because you learn an awful lot about your own interviewing technique when you listen really closely to the interviews in order to transcribe. You listen very closely, even to your own voice, asking questions maybe. I certainly found this when I started doing this work a few years ago. I found it immensely helpful transcribing my own early interviews, and I realized what mistakes I was making in those interviews, planting ideas in my respondents' heads, which they then conveniently repeated back to me. It's no longer useful data. And I want you to think about ethics. It's very easy to jump into automatic transcription. People will recommend all sorts of programs, and many of them are now free. But I was brought up on the saying there's no such thing as a free lunch. If somebody is making a software program freely available to you, they are probably looking for something in return. And one of the things that I suspect they're doing is they are collecting your data because they have your data in order to process it to provide you with the transcript. You need to ask yourself, how sensitive is my data? Would my respondents mind me giving it to whoever this is, Microsoft or whoever, for them to provide me with a free transcript? And where will that data be stored? captured. That's what I mean by them keeping it. Are you going to be sending your data across international boundaries and in their process possibly breaching general data protection regulations, GDPR? Is that a problem? You need to think about these ethical issues before you jump into the easy option of an automatic transcription program. And another ethical issue, some of you, I believe, are from the United States, and a few years ago I was told that in the United States in universities, ethical guidance is commonly that when you collect audio data, you should get it transcribed as soon as possible and then destroy the original tapes as soon as possible. This rather horrifies me because it's literally destroying your data before you've analyzed it. I would urge you to negotiate with your ethical committees, if possible, that you should be allowed to keep the source data at least until you've completed the analysis and then maybe destroy it, and so on. So ethics do come into this. And also bear in mind, you should not use, if you've got sensitive data particularly, you should not use original audio clips or video clips in your presentations, because you will breach anonymization there potentially. Somebody might recognize the voice of someone that they know or see the face of someone that they know in the video, and you will have failed your anonymization. But that doesn't mean that you cannot use those raw data in your analysis. I draw a big distinction between the analysis phase and the presentation or reporting phase. And I'm urging you to use the media for the analysis. And finally, if you go for automatic transcription, bear in mind you'll always need to check for and correct errors. Even with external manual transcription, technical terms may be handled badly. Your manual transcriber may not be familiar with the language and technical terms of the topic that you're discussing, and so on. So there may be errors with the human transcribing. There will often be errors when a machine attempts to transcribe. They're getting better, but they're still far from perfect. So if you go for automatic transcription, you're still going to need to work through carefully looking for errors. So let's now bear this in mind. Let's go and look at the transcription tools in Maxqda and see them in use. I'm going to start importing. So I'm going to go, I've got a document folder here ready with some sources. Let's go to the import menu and I'm going to import an audio file, first of all. So I'll go to audio and I need to navigate to find my source file in Maxqda externals, and I'm going to bring in the audio interview Robert. That's the one which is in, this data is in the English language example project for Maxqda, life satisfaction project. So this data is available to you from in that example. So I've just navigated to and found an audio file and clicked on the open, and I get this dialog. Do I want to import a transcript associated with the media file? And first time round, I'm going to say no, because I want to just import the audio. It's prepared it and brought it in, and there we are. We now have the audio file interview with Robert has been added to my document system, and it's been opened in the standard way of Maxqda. Now, I want to clear up a possible misunderstanding. This is not the transcription program. I'm trying to make that window a little bit smaller. That's right. This is just the waveform for this, for me to play and check. And for this step, I need to make sure that you can hear the sound of the audio. So I'm just turning on the media player within GoToMeeting, and let's now start playing this and see. I hope somebody will.
So we'll start the interview now.
Okay, that was playing very slowly because I've got it on slow play at the moment. I hope you could hear somebody saying, okay, now we'll start. Please, could somebody send me a chat message quickly, or send to everybody a chat message if the audio was not. Thanks, Elizabeth. Elizabeth said, yup, so you can hear it. Now, with this player, which is a fairly obvious waveform, we have a control panel here, which I can open with this little button on its toolbar at the left. And I've got the playing speed rather too slow for a first run through. In fact, I've got the choice of varying the playing speed between half speed and double speed. Let's go up almost to double speed and play it again, and you should hear much faster. Let's go back to the start. And play that same.
So we'll start the interview now with Robert. And Robert, on a scale of 1 to 10, how satisfied are you with your career path?
I would probably give my career path a 4 right now.
So hopefully that's loud. You can hear very fast talking. For a first quick listen through to check the purpose of why it's displayed the media browser with the waveform immediately after import is so that you can check you've got the file that you intended and you've got the whole file. So it might be a good idea to move the slider to the far end of it and listen to the last
the highest
part.
level of education you have attained?
Well, right now I'm still studying at the university, so hopefully you will be.
And hopefully give yourself reassurance that you've got the whole file complete with that import. I'm then going to close that, or I'll put that back to standard play and close that, because that's the first step of importing. If I want to transcribe, I will need to do another step. But before I do that, let me also import a video in the same way. So I'm staying in my sources folder. I'm going to import a video from the same example project. There's a short video called Building a Tower. Notice if you want to check on the available formats for video from this pull-down menu in the navigation screen, you can see the range of video and audio formats that Maxqda currently recognizes. So you need to make sure that you've got audio or video that matches one of those. Building a tower, click Open. And again, do I want to import a transcript? No, I don't have a transcript for it at the moment, so it's just going to import it. And it opens it. And again, we've got the same control panel, so I can control the playing speed. I'm going to slow it down a little bit. Okay, and let's start playing this film. And we've got a film of an adult and a child, and the child is playing with Duplo bricks, I recognize from my own grandchildren's play. There's not so much speech in this, you can see from the waveform. And in fact, I think the child doesn't speak at all. It is only the adult who speaks.
Blue or red?
Okay, so the same thing. We can jump to the end with this slider. This video is only 38 seconds long, and we've already played 18 seconds of it. So that's it's only a very short video. The purpose of this opening up is simply for you to check that you've got the video that you expected and that it is complete and whole. We'll close that media browser. So that's the first step, bringing those in. Now I'll show you what you should do if you actually have a transcript, because we do have a transcript for Robert. And so I will bring in a transcript now for the Robert interview, put it into a different folder, and you can see how that works. So there we've imported a raw audio file and a raw video file without any transcripts. Now, so you're likely to have got your data automatically transcribed in some other way. And so now how do you get that into Maxqda? Well, if we click on the little drop down for the import transcripts, at the top, we've got two general imports: import transcripts with timestamps and transcripts without timestamps. Timestamps are the little clock represented by the clock symbols here in the margin, and they represent fixed points which connect the transcript and the source audio or video at a precise point and allow Maxqda to do the synchronizing. These 7 programs at the top, AmberScript, HappyScribe, Otter, and so on, these, I believe, are automatic transcription programs which Maxqda recognizes. So if you're able to lay your hands on any one of those 7 and use those to import to transcribe your data and so on, we don't have Microsoft Office 365 and one or two others which have been referred to in other videos. So if you use Microsoft Office 365, you'll need to use the general import transcripts with timestamps. Below the line here, these are programs that are likely to be used by manual transcribers. So if you're going the route of a manual transcript, then you need to ask your transcriber what program they use and hope that it's one of the ones recognized here, and then you use the appropriate import from this. Different programs have different formats for the timestamps. That's the crucial thing, and that's why if you match the right program to the source data, you'll have fewer problems. I'll just do a general timestamp with transcripts, and I just want to go back into my webinar and my transcribing webinar, and I've got a transcript for the Robert interview here. So this is a Word document which I am importing, and a text document. I click on open when I found it, and now it says, can I find the media file that matches it? So it does, before it imports the transcript, it asks me to select the media file. So I go okay, and I need to go back up and find my Maxqda externals, which is where the media files are, and select the interview Robert and click open. Wait, why did I get into that? Okay. And it has done it. Now, I've got the same effect. I've got the multimedia browser up here, the same waveform, but in the background in here, you can see is the transcript of Robert that has been opened. I could straight away start playing this. Let me just check what speed this is coming at. It's coming a bit slow. Let's put it up to normal. Okay. I can start playing it.
Okay, so we'll start the interview now with Robert. And Robert, on a scale of 1 to 10, how satisfied are you with your career path?
Okay, so hopefully you picked up in the document browser. I was just using my mouse pointer to highlight the transcript part, and hopefully you could hear that was what was being said on the interview. So that's how easy it is to, once you've got a transcript, to import the transcript and its associated audio file. Now, I just want to make a point here about the way where Maxqda puts things, because you've seen me go and find a file called Maxqda externals to make these links. Maxqda does not store the very large, bulky audio and video files, the MP3s or WMVs or whatever they are, files inside the project. I've got a project here called Demo Project with today's date, which is what I'm using. Maxqda will store the transcript and its associated timestamps inside that project file, but the source media, the original audio or video, digital audio or video, will go in a folder called Maxqda externals, and I've got that on my desktop, so that it's as close as possible to my project. It's not much use having that source only available up in the cloud or on a remote university server. You'll find it'll slow your work down while Maxqda has to keep on going back and finding those files. So it's a good idea to have your Maxqda externals on your local drive, where your audio and video files can be stored. So I could check again by playing through and watching my transcript and so on that the transcript matches. I've done that little test. So we've now gone through the interviewing, and I've had a question which I will take from Kim, who asks, can we import transcripts using other software than those listed in Maxqda? Yes, you can, Kim, with these top two options: transcripts with timestamps and transcripts without timestamps. If you open your transcript in something like in a word processing program like MS Office Word, you should see the timestamps there. Let me just do that for you. So if I open the interview Robert document from this file here, I'm just opening MS Office Word. I'm outside Maxqda now. This is Office Word, and you can see here is a timestamp. No hours, no minutes, 11.0 seconds, Robert starts speaking. Further on down, 3 minutes, 33 seconds, Robert starts speaking here. This is a timestamp, and it's in a format that Maxqda recognized, so it was able to bring that data transcript in and link it with the audio file. Yes, Kim, you can import a transcript from other software. If it's got timestamps, use the top function. If it hasn't got timestamps, use the bottom. But without timestamps, you won't be able to synchronize with your video. But at first, or your audio rather, you may have to do an intermediate step where you go through and add your timestamps inside Maxqda as part of your editing and correcting process. So Patricia says, what's the smartest way to handle transcripts in 2 languages? My audio is in Spanish, but I want to work with the English translation of them. Yes, that is a very good question. If you're going to do the translation yourself, Patricia, you could actually translate as you transcribe. You could, in a way I'm going to demonstrate in a few moments, you could transcribe the interview with Robert, and instead of typing in what Robert actually says in the exact words, you could translate it and type in the translation. If it's already transcribed and translated, you can connect 2 different transcripts to one source. I've done that just here. I've got my interview Robert, and I'm going to create a transcript for it, or partial transcript, in a moment, and the same audio with its transcript here. So you can have multiple transcripts linked to the same audio and move between them inside your Maxqda browser. That's another way. Going slightly off my plans there. Let me get back onto my goal. So it's time now to show you the transcription tools in Maxqda, how you would correct and edit. With my transcript here, no, I don't want to do that. I want to start a new transcript. So if I go to my interview Robert and do a right mouse click to get the context menu in the document system, this is the only way of getting into the transcription routine from the context menu. This is the only route. Right click on a Windows mouse. I can't remember what it is on a Mac. But get the context menu, and there you can see transcribe audio file. Select that, and it opens up all sorts of things. In the background, it opened up an empty document because we haven't got anything yet. And it's moved the document browser up to a higher level here where I've got it here. So this is where my transcript will be created. I've got my audio waveform that we've already seen up there, starting at the beginning. And I've got a new control panel called Transcription Settings. I've still got the other control panel, which I positioned down here, where I can play around with the speed and volume. Those hopefully are fairly obvious. I'm going to slow it down a little bit because it helps me with the hearing and the typing. And I want to talk about the various options up here that you can play with. The rewind interval in seconds. You've got a choice, a range from 0 to 10 seconds. This rewind happens every time you stop the playback in order to type up what you just heard. It rewinds. I've got it set currently at 3 seconds. So next time I start the playback again, it will jump back 3 seconds, and I will hear again the last 3 seconds of that I heard last time. And this is a way of making sure I don't leave any gaps. I don't miss anything between the different phases of my transcribing typing. So you can vary that rewind interval between 0 and 10 seconds. I'm going to use 3 seconds. That's a matter of your own preference. The next one, timestamp on enter. This is a tick box. If I use it, every time I hit an enter key to start a new paragraph in my transcript, it will put a new timestamp in automatically. That way, I don't need to think about timestamps. I will comply with one of the suggested rules from Cookhartz and Radiker, which is to start a new paragraph every time the speaker changes, and that will give me a timestamp at each speaker change. So I recommend that to be ticked on. Automatic speaker change. This is really useful if you are doing an interview with just 2 people, because Maxqda will put whatever text you put in here. So I can have interviewer as the text for that, and respondent if I want to anonymize it, or I could have called it Robert, but I'll put those texts in. You will see those texts appear when I start doing the transcribing. Let's do a little bit of that before we come back and look at the auto text. I'll leave those on. So let's start the playback. And for the moment, I'm going to use my mouse so you can see what I'm doing.
Okay, so we'll start the interview now with Robert.
So that's the first step. And I'll type that. So it was, okay, let's start the interview. Now, I don't want to do too much of this because it's very boring watching me typing with Robert. And then I'm going to hit the Enter key because that was just an introduction. Unfortunately, the interviewer goes on speaking the next bit. I can start and stop with that. When you're doing lots of typing, you want to keep your fingers on the keyboard. So I'm going to use the fact that we can use play pause with F4 or F5 or hitting the Control key on a Windows keyboard. I think it's the Command key on a Mac twice. I personally find the F4 one quite useful. So here we go again.
So we'll start.
We hear this rewind.
Robert. And Robert, on a scale of 1 to 10, how satisfied are you with your career path?
So she said, and Robert, on a scale of 1 to 10, how satisfied are you? And so on. You get the idea with your career path. Dot. I won't go on typing. Let's hit F4 and start again.
1 to 10, how satisfied are you with your career path?
I'm hitting Enter.
I would probably give my career path a...
Oh, I stopped that slightly too soon. Robert said, I would probably give my career path a... Now, notice that I put the timestamp in as it was playing, which removes any ambiguity about the rewind. If you put a timestamp in, you don't want it to suddenly jump back 3 seconds and put the timestamp there. So I find I like to have it playing and hit the Enter key at the right moment as it's playing through, and then I know I've got that timestamp in exactly the right time. 11.9 seconds is where that timestamp has gone in. When I hover over it down here, you can see the time interval. Then pause it. I get a chance to type. And then when I hit my F4 again, you'll see it step back 3 seconds.
I would probably give my career path a 4 right now. What I'm doing right now is...
So I can then pick up my 4 right now. Now, you'll see... Oh, I'm sorry. Kim is having trouble with trying to type something in the chat, and he's getting kicked out. I'm sorry. I don't know why that would be, Kim. I'm sorry. It's something happening on your computer. It's maybe your internet connection. I don't think anybody else has had that problem. Please try and bear with us as much as you can. So what was I saying? Yes. So you see. We could go on typing through. You don't need to see me do lots more of that. Let me just speed up the play, run it forward.
4 right now. What I'm doing right now is I'm at the university taking American Studies, and that's basically because of my love for literature. And that's also maybe the career path I want to take later on. Maybe go into like a publishing house in the writing business. But in general, I would say that I'm basically clueless about my future, and I'm not...
I want to get to the end of Robert's long speech.
Ambitious, so that's why I would give myself a 4 right now.
Right, I think that's where Robert stops speaking. So I'm going to put another Enter. This time I'm going to put the Enter with it stopped, and we'll see it's on about 49 seconds. We've got the automatic speaker ID coming in, and it's got 48.6. So yes, that timestamp has come in at an OK place in the wave form. If I just move that along, you can see we're going to get the next question. Now this time I want to talk about the auto text because when you have repetitive things in an interview, it's quite handy to not have to type things in full every time. So I'm going to create an auto text here, which I'm going to use the key letter H, because the interviewer keeps on saying, on a scale of 1 to 10, how satisfied are you? Whoops. That'll do. And space. Okay, I don't want it in bold. So I can use this whenever I want in my transcript by typing H followed by 2 spaces, H space space. Maxqda will fill in that exact phrase. So let's now play this.
So that's why I would give myself a 4 right now.
Oh, hang on, let me just stop that. I need to slow this down so that we can hear it properly. Okay. It's worth being able to change the speed. It'll step back 3 seconds.
Give myself a 4 right now.
And on a scale, again, of 1 to 10, how satisfied?
See, she started straight off with the and on a scale. Ooh. Oh. I got a 4 in there, but never mind. I do H space space, and it types in all of that. So that saves me a lot of time. Every time, oh, I misspelt it. I didn't see that. I felt slightly unhappy with it, so I can come back here and edit it, correct it. Let me see. Will the undo take it out? Let's try again. H space space. Except it came up with bold because I'd gone back into the bold section, but never mind. I can, with my word processing, I can change that. It won't do that next time. So auto text. I missed the fact that the 2 spaces come after the text. That's not quite so intuitive as many things in Maxqda. So I want to draw your attention to that because the unintelligible is quite a useful one because quite often when you're transcribing, somebody mumbles or they turn away from the microphone and you don't hear something. So that's how you can use those tools. Let me close that transcribing. There, we're left with the transcript there. Finish that session. If I were to come back on another day, reopen this project and come back to here and start transcribe audio file, it would open up, bring in what we've already got. Here it comes in again with the existing transcript, and I can carry on where I left off. So that's perfectly possible. Let's now look at the video. So the same thing, right-click to get the context menu, transcribe a video file. Okay, it's opened up multiple windows. Here's my document browser with the empty transcript, just like we had a moment ago for the audio. Here is my media player. It's black at the moment because the very beginning of the video there's no picture, but tiny bit in, and then we've got the image. We can watch the video up there. I've got the same transcription settings here, including on a scale of 1 to 10. That's not going to be very relevant in this video, and so on. For the video, I don't think I want the automatic speaker change because we don't have an interviewer and a respondent. We have an adult and a child. I might, but they may not necessarily alternate. So I think that's not going to be very much use to me. Timestamp on enter will be useful. That's fine. But I think from my experience, I need to slow the video down quite a lot to watch what's going on. So I'm going to pull that playing that speed. I can't make it any smaller. Let's make that a bit, minimize that. Okay. So we've now got a timestamp to start and we can choose what to do. There's not very much speech in this. Let's just play it and you can see.
Or red. Blue.
There's a lot more happening. These are just sounds of the bricks.
Hello.
So working with this video, if I transcribe only the audio, it's going to be a very short and dull transcript. So what I need to do here is describe what's going on. Let's come back to the start again. And let's use the F4 and start the play. What's going on?
And
Okay, the adult picks up 2 bricks. Offers them to the child. Play again. Rewind interval, 3 seconds. It stepped back. We see it again.
Lottie, this one or this one?
Let me just go back, and this time let me put in...
Lottie, this one or this one?
Now I can put in speech. So I can still transcribe speech, but because I'm using description, I choose to put my speech in inverted commas, which makes it absolutely clear. Other people use brackets and things for the same purpose. Let's go back. See the timestamp?
Lottie, this one or this one?
We get another timestamp. Child reaches with right hand for the red brick. How much detail depends on your research questions, your analysis needs, and so on. But you can build up a descriptive thing. And by the way, working with video, there is no automatic transcription program that will do this kind of thing, determine that the child reaches with the right hand for the red brick, and so on. That requires a human, I believe, and probably will do for quite some time, to interpret and get that description in. You can still use the auto text if you've got repeat actions, which may very well be the case in some kinds of video analysis and so on. But you get the idea. That's how we can work with description in the video. Otherwise, we've got slightly less space because we've got a video as well as a waveform, and we can see the waveform is where we anchor the timestamps and so on. So the waveform is very useful for interpreting the video. All three are really necessary. So that has got us through that. Let me just check with my agenda. So we've talked about the control panel down at the bottom left of my screen, where we had the volume and the playing speed, the range of playing speed from half speed to double speed. The rewind interval, I've been using a 3-second rewind step back. Timestamp on enter is useful in both the audio and the video, I found. But the automatic speaker change is really designed for two people interviews, doesn't work with focus group transcribing, and doesn't work so well with the video. And I've demonstrated a little bit of auto text. I use the F4 and the cursor on the media player toolbar for my stop-start. I didn't mention this. Inside the transcribing, within a paragraph, you can add an extra timestamp with function key 6, function key 4, 5, and 6 working together here. And I need to show you the overview of timestamps. But for this, I'm going to move to I simply opened my Ready Transcribed project. Okay, so I'm now moving to the interview with Robert that I imported with the ready-made transcript. And so you saw this. I typed laboriously, we'll start the interview with Robert, and Robert, on a scale of 1 to 10, how satisfied are you? And Robert answering, I'd give my career path a 4 right now, and so on. And I got down to this point, how satisfied are you with your, it was going to be health was the next question. That was as far as I got in my laborious manual typing. Now, we could work through here by opening the media player and switching edit mode on. I can work simply with the audio if I don't want to have all of the functions for correcting, but I think it's best to correct in full transcript mode. So I'm going to open up the transcribe. Even though I've already got it transcribed, I can open up this one. I probably don't need the transcription settings, so I can hide that away. And if I'm just going to come down because I think at this point I'm going to play this section, listen to the audio and read the text.
For romance and 5 for family.
Mm-hmm. Then we'll come to the next section. Word to story prompts, whatever that is. So let's come.
So did you hear that? There's a bit of text missing here in the transcript. Whoever was transcribing, I think they might have had some difficulty listening to a little bit of text in the middle of that segment. here is where it's, then we'll come to the next section. This part of the segment, they didn't hear. Let's come back. Can I get my cursor back to, oh, no. Just play the segment again.
5 for family.
Mm-hmm. Then we'll come to the next section. Word to story prompts, whatever that is.
I don't know if you could hear, she actually says word to story prompts, whatever that is. So I can make corrections down here. I can come down here and type in word to story prompts, whatever that is. And little pause. So there I am. That is an example of importing a ready-made transcript, listening to it, finding something that isn't right, and putting in a correction. If I go to the to the end of my transcript and play the last bit.
Sadness. Well, I sort of touched on this with the failure thing. When that relationship ended, I felt like there was a big hole because beforehand I pretty much defined myself through this relationship. I centered my activities around that relationship, and it just felt like I was falling. Yeah, so that was the summer of '06, basically.
Now, that segment has finished at that point, but look, the waveform goes on. We're at 7 minutes 27 out of 9 minutes 58. So this transcript is incomplete. There's 2.5 minutes more of audio that hasn't been transcribed. Another thing, your automatic transcription software, you need to check that it is complete. There's more work that we can do. I suspect, because this is in the example project, the transcript and the audio, that's been left there so that you can have a practice at doing more transcribing from that point on if you want to explore the transcription tools there in the audio. Now, something else, let me just go back and play this one again and use that F6
sort of touched on
thing.
this
I'm going to put another
failure
timestamp.
When that relationship ended, I felt like there was a big hole because beforehand I pretty much defined myself through
I'm
this
clicking down
relationship.
here. That's where I want the timestamp to come. I'm waiting for the audio to catch up.
It just felt like I was falling. Yeah. So
Timestamp in there.
The summer of '06, basically.
I hit the F6 as the audio passed between falling and yeah. So now I've got a new segment. If I click on this, it should start playing from yeah with any luck.
Yeah, so that was the summer of '06, basically.
Did you get that? If I play this one, it will stop after falling, and this one, it starts at the yeah. So you can add new timestamps within a paragraph without having a new speaker. That's okay. We're using function key 6 to put a timestamp in at very precise places, and so on. So now we've had some questions. Questions can keep coming, but I did now want to just show you how you can code directly onto the wave form. I'm going to close that transcript. I'm going to go back to my video because I think this one will work rather better. And I've got some codes I've created about which hands are being used. So I've got my transcript such as it is here. I can open up the media player. I'm not going to use the transcript. We'll come back to the beginning, and we'll watch for the child's hands is what I'm going to try and code. And these are the buttons for creating coding segments. These buttons here, you'll see me use my mouse on them. There are function keys, F7 to mark the start and F8 to mark the end of a segment. We can use either. So let me start playing.
And Lottie, this one or this one? That one?
So I've just used F7 and F8, not very accurately maybe, but Lottie reached out with the right hand, so I can drag the right hand code, and I've coded that segment straight into the video. I remember now, for this work, I really need to slow the playing speed right down. I can then get more accurate. So let's now just play that segment.
That one.
There's a little bit of both hands in there, really. So let me undo that and undo the segment. Start again. Come back to here. I want to delete that timestamp and delete that timestamp because they weren't quite right. I was going too fast. Slow speed now. Play this again. It's more fiddly work doing this direct coding.
Lottie, this one or this one? That one.
So hopefully I got that more accurate this time. Lottie reaching out, so that was with the right hand. And now I start playing again. Can I start playing again? It's fiddly, and I'm struggling with doing a webinar and trying to do fiddly coding as well. I just want to go back a little bit. I'm not getting the step back. Why am I not getting the step back? Oh, because I'm not in transcription mode. I'm in play mode. That's the difference. So I can only put the
Lottie, this one or this one? That one.
So that was the bit with both hands. Drop the both hands code on there. Start playing again. I could code that for Lottie doing a lot of things with the right hand. Here, I've stopped it. I can do F7, start it again, F8, and that's another bit with both hands. So I can create some coded segments in that way. Let me close that. Let me also highlight a segment there and code that with the right-hand code. That's coding the transcript. And now let's activate the building a tower and activate the video codes and see what we get in the retrieve segments panel. Down here, let's make this even bigger. So there are 3 video clips that we made, right hand, both hands, and both hands. You saw me put those in. And we've got a transcript clip segment there coded. If I click on the transcript segment there, it simply synchronizes in the usual way and highlights that in its context up here. If I click on one of these, it plays that segment.
Blue or red?
Or it should. Actually, it isn't. Didn't quite work. Should have played the particular segment. Let's click on the bracket. Ah, that's it. I've got to click on the bracket. I clicked in the wrong place. Close that again. So if don't click on the symbol, click on the bracket to play that clip. That was it. You had to look quickly. We probably need. The playing speed should still be on the slow speed, but it's such a short clip. Let's try the first one. That was the child reaching. Not convinced that the slow speed is applying as I do this. That seems to be coming in at full speed. But I hope I'm running short of time, but I hope I've demonstrated how you can code directly and use these coded segments. Let me go back to the Robert interview and get rid of my activations and my retrieve segments, and also demonstrate the advantage of having all these timestamps and so on. You can turn synchronization mode on, and then by opening the media player, and making it suitably small size, you can go to any part of your interview click and start playing the audio.
Together. My sister, I got a good relationship with her, even though we're not extremely close. But I do have to say that my relationship.
I'm trying to find that. It must be somewhere in this. He says, my sister. Oh, I couldn't find it. It should have. Let's carry on.
Relationship with my mother is conflict-ridden. So 7 for friendship, a 2 for romance, and a 5 for family.
Ah, now it's linking in. Now it's working.
Then we'll come to the next section. Word to story prompts, whatever that is.
That's where I made the correction.
So let's come to the question of failure.
Well, the story I have in my mind for a personal failure would be...
You get the idea. So that's using synchronization mode to play back, and Maxqda will display the transcript at the right pace but I was driving it from the audio. So you can drive it either way. I've demonstrated several times. Click on a timestamp in the document browser, and that passage will be played by the audio. Now, if you have synchronization turned on, click on anywhere in the audio or the video, and the transcript will be displayed at the equivalent place, matching what you're playing through. I'll just push that out of the way a little bit. And one last thing, the timestamps. This button here opens up a display of the timestamps. So now this is just a list of all the timestamps that we've got with their times beginning and end in hours, minutes, seconds, and tenths of a second. And you've got a comment field here. So another way that you could transcribe, for shortcutting the labor of transcribing, is you could work through your audio file simply putting in timestamps on a first pass through. Every significant point as you listen to it, put a timestamp. Then you come back and you can play a passage.
Which I see as a physical deficit.
That wasn't a very exciting one, but listening to it, you could then type in here a description of something that you heard, a comment.
Some like that, wearing glasses.
So that was the interviewer saying comment about glasses. So you can create your own comments and display them in this comment table as another way of helping you navigate without fully transcribing the whole of your audio clip. Then by opening up this timestamps table, you can search through here. You've got a search function. So you can search for a keyword. If you've got sort of 500 of these timestamps and so on, you can jump out and find, yes, that's the passage I want to listen to. And in that way, you can go back and listen to that source audio without having to have a full transcript necessarily. So let me come back to my agenda. That was the additional timestamp with F6 and the timestamps table. So coming to the end, some references. I've mentioned several times this book, Analyzing Qualitative Data with Maxqda by Udo Kuckartz and Stefan Rediker. And it's published by Springer in 2019. It has a whole chapter, chapter 4, devoted to transcribing audio and video, but it's the one that begins, unfortunately, we don't have automatic transcription yet. But it makes some very valid comments, particularly about what you may be missing if you simply rely on your automatic transcription. There's lots of help in the reference manual for how you use the tools, and don't forget context-sensitive help if you open the transcribing things. Let me just go back to that and open up the transcribe. Here's the transcription screen coming up, and from this button you've got context-sensitive help. This little white eye over here, click on that, it would open up the manual at the page for transcription settings, and you've got another one up there which will take you to talking about the waveform and so on. So use context-sensitive help inside Maxqda for getting more help about the actual tools. The website, if you haven't found it, maxqda-press.com, is where people are publishing books and articles freely available to the entire Maxqda community. Look in there because you may find useful material about transcription problems and solutions there. Join the Maxqda Research Network and put questions out there for other people in the community to help. You may get help that way. And make sure you've watched all of the videos in the Maxqda video tutorials. I have been recording this webinar, so this one hopefully will get up there at some stage. It may take 2 or 3 weeks before it gets that done to it, but one day it will hopefully appear in those Maxqda video tutorials. So any further questions? Let me just look back and check. Have I answered everything that you asked?